Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and today I'm doing my January acquisitions. I'm going to start with puzzle. The bookshop near me had a puzzle sale. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. There we go. So I got this Wild Oceans one, and it's all ocean animals that were endangered, or maybe still are. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't read the whole back here, but that are making a comeback, and it's super colorful and a lot of fun. And 20 of the puzzle pieces are shaped like animals, so some pieces are a bit wonky shaped. It's good fun. And then at the same bookstore, this, I haven't actually opened this yet. It was on sale for like $5. So crime, thriller, and mystery book trivia. Little cards. So I got these. And it's literally just trivia from various crime books. So I don't know if I will do very much with these, but you know, it's $5 and I thought, oh, I like crime and thriller type books, I will. Now I'm having trouble with tuck boxes again. How? Just me being uncoordinated, don't mind me. And then at the same bookstore, I got this deck, which I also haven't used yet. Missing Witches Deck of Oracles. Feminist Ancestor Magic for Meditations, Divination, and Spell Work. So, I haven't, like I say, I haven't used it yet. I haven't even gone through the whole thing yet. I did watch a bit of a walkthrough, and it does have some people I've never heard of. And then it has information on the back. But this might go on my shelf until I'm finished going through our tarot, which I will get back to eventually. I'm listening to some other tarot books at the moment, but like, they're just interesting people from all around the world who I am not familiar with at all. And it's all like purple and black and white, which is fun. So yeah, I will do something with that someday after I'm more familiar with our tarot, because otherwise I will be too overwhelmed with everything. And then the other tarot deck that I got this month, well, January, is the Joyce tarot, which I'd never gotten before, so I'm very excited. And I've used it a little bit now, and it's a lot of fun. And just unlike anything I have, like, it's based on or inspired by Marseille. It does have some RWS bits in it, and then just some random other things that, there's the Hermit, that I'm not familiar with, that I just sort of would use intuitively, I guess, which is fine. Not entirely convinced by that one, but oh well. I do like that one. That's very pretty. This one, I wonder what plant that is. It is very plant heavy, which I enjoy, of course. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really fun shape. It's just, I'm enjoying having it. It's fun. For a while there, because I didn't know if she'd do a reprint at some point, so I was on the mailing list. But I wasn't sure if I'd ever get it, so now I've got it, and I'm very happy about it. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Oh, here's the Wheel of Fortune. I like that one. So those are the decks, whoops, that I got this month. See, this is a little bit RWS. Yeah. And then books. So I did a massive spring clean in my apartment. This little thing is sticking out again. Oh well. And got rid of a lot of stuff that I just didn't need anymore. And like, sometimes in the basement of the apartment I'm in, the laundry room, there's a table that people use as like free stuff. Put your free stuff here, put a little free stuff sign, and then people can take it if they want it. So I did that, and then I took some other stuff to the free library down the street, and then just got rid of a bunch of other stuff. I did take some books, quite a few of them, to a used bookstore, and then accidentally came home with some more books as well, because, oops. So a lot of these are from that, and then a couple of them I got, and then some are just from a little free library as well. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes was bizarrely in the literary criticism section of the used bookstore, so I found it by accident. But I'd heard of it before. Its subtitle is And Other Lessons from the Crematory by Cailin Doughty. Apparently it's morbidly funny. So she's got a degree in medieval history, but she works at Crematory. And so she takes care of the dead. And so yeah, I've heard good things about this. She has an Ask a Mortician web series, and I've watched a few of her videos. They're very good. I like them. Then I got Irish Folk and Fairy Tales Omnibus. I think this was originally published as 3 books, and this is just 1. And I don't know if it's, like, I don't know if he's Irish. I don't know if it's a reliable source of Irish folk tales, because sometimes you do get Irish stories that are just kind of anglicized by English people, or made up by English people, like during the Victorian era and stuff. It's weird. People are weird, and colonialism is weird. So anyway, it was first published in the 70s, and yeah, so I'll have to reread it, and I might Google it and see if, you know, actual Irish people have opinions about how Irish these Irish stories are. It seems to be, like, it's got the Garden of the Tuatha and the Sea Maid and So and Eve, and yeah, so there's that. Then this is I think the one book I actually got new. This is the Saga of the Icelanders, and it is a brick. It's, I think, not all just the sagas. So there's notes and illustrations, and then there's a reference section at the end, but it's mostly sagas and tales, and it's not little, so this will be fun. I'm going to Iceland later this year, and I've read the Poetic Edda, and I've read a few other stories like the Saga of the Volsungs, but I haven't read this one yet. So, and I do want to read definitely Leif Erikson's the Vinland sagas, which I think are in here as well. Yeah, Saga of the Greenlanders, Eric the Red saga, and then some tales. I don't know what the difference is between tales and sagas, but I guess I'll find out. This one I got secondhand as well. It's got very, like, severely mixed reviews. In Case of Emergency by Mahsa Mohebali. She is Iranian. But, so, the thing about the mixed reviews on this one, it says it's a darkly humorous, scathing look at authoritarian state, global capitalism, and the gender binary. So anytime you have a book that explores the gender binary, you're going to get mixed reviews, because some people just have a thing and get angry on the internet. And also, it was translated from Persian, and a lot of the reviews that hate it do seem to be from people who expect certain things out of a Persian book, and this seems to not be that, which is kind of why I got it. And then, whoops, I got a couple James Joyce ones. So I got A Portrait of the Artist as Young Man, which I've read before, and then The Dead, which is one of the stories in Dubliners. But I got this because it's got so many essays that go along with it. So it's got the text of The Dead, and then it has literary criticism. So it's got a critical history, psychoanalytic criticism, reader response, the new historicism, I don't know what that is, feminist criticism, and deconstruction. So it's got a whole bunch of it. It's mostly essays. For my Read Around the World challenge that I'm doing, I got The Paraguayan Sea by Wilson Bueno. Now this is going to be the first book in Franglais that I've ever read. I think it's in Franglais. It's like a French-English mashup, because in the original, it's part Spanish and part, hang on, I can't even begin to say that word. It's a mix of Spanish and indigenous languages, or an indigenous language in Paraguay. I'm not familiar with those, at all. And so the translation is a mix of English and French. Borderlands mix of Portunhol and Guarani. Sing-song incantations of the original Guarani. Indigenous elements, but also a virtuoso lexical poem in itself. It just sounds so interesting. And I needed a book from Paraguay, so I thought, well, I'll give it a go. See if I like it. And then I found, so there are a few books that I found that have been on my list for a while. This one's been on my list for ages. This is Ceremony by Leslie Marmon Silko. It's a Native American classic at this point. She's indigenous to somewhere in what's now the US. Laguna Pueblo, Mexican and white ancestry. She grew up on the Laguna Pueblo reservation. I assume that's somewhere in the southern US, but I'm not exactly familiar. And the introduction is by Larry McMurtry, who wrote Lonesome Dove, which is also on my list of things to read. He co-wrote the screenplay for Brokeback Mountain. Cool. I love that movie. Anyway, there's an army veteran, also mixed, who comes back after being a prisoner of the Japanese and is trying to find some sort of peace after that. So this is his story. It's not a new book. I feel like it's originally published in like the 70s or something. So it's not new exactly. Yeah, 77. That's a very well-known indigenous classic. This is The Seventh Veil of Salome by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. I haven't read all of her books because, so one of the things I like about her is that she can't really be pigeonholed because she writes, every book is so different from all the other books. That also makes it hard for me to know if I'm going to like her other books. So she wrote, Mexican Gothic, which I loved. Silver Nitrate, which I did also really like. I haven't read The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. I feel like I should do that. She's written several other books. And then I read the synopsis and I'm like, would I like that? I don't know if I would like that. But then, this was at the used bookstore, 1950s Hollywood, which is not like, the whole movie scene is not something I'm super familiar with, but anyway, it's this Mexican, young Mexican woman is auditioning, I think, for the role of Salome. And so there's some behind the scenes drama that ensues. And that's about all I know about it. So the next two authors were actually authors that I forgot they had new books. So I read Imbolo and Mbue's first book, which was called, what was it called? It's on my shelf here. Can I find it quickly? No, not quickly. Behold the Dreamers. She's from Cameroon and lives in New York. And Behold the Dreamers was about immigrants in New York, and it was just so good. And then she came out with a second book, and usually I'll wait for the paperback to come out. So sometimes I forget that a book has come out because the hardcover is out for so long before the paper book, and then the hype kind of dies down by the time the paperback comes out, and then it's just not at the forefront of my mind. But I found this one, I thought, okay, I'll give that a go. The other one that I really wanted to read was Glory by Noviolet Bulawayo. Where is she from? Zimbabwe, but she lives in the US now as well. We Need New Names was her first book, and it is incredible. It was an unbelievably good book. I loved it so much. And so this apparently is like the African Animal Farm. So I'm sold. And then I got, one moment while I move my stack of books out of the way, this giant thing, which is the Witchcraft Reader, 3rd edition, Routledge Readers in History. So this is actually a history book that offers a wide range of historical perspectives on the subject of witchcraft, which trails the Middle Ages, the 16th and 17th centuries, scholarly literature, popular representations, both from academic and pop culture perspectives, fears of an imaginary witch cult, which sounds a lot like the Satanic Panic in the US that didn't exist, but people panicked over it anyway. The role of religious division and ideas about the devil, gendering of suspects, making of confessions, and the decline of witch beliefs. And then the final section explores revivals and images of witchcraft in contemporary Western culture. So it does sound mostly Western, which, I mean, is kind of what I'm interested in, so I'm okay with that, but, you know, that's the thing. Let me just get up here. So, yeah, Medieval Origins is part 1, Witchcraft, Magic, and Fear, Witch Cult, Witchcraft in the Reformation, Witchcraft and Authority. That goes into the early modern era, Witchcraft, Possession, and the Devil. And it's all over Europe from the sound of some of these titles. Witchcraft and Gender, Reading Confessions, Witchcraft Today. So it's got a chapter on witchcraft, a chapter on satanic abuse. It wasn't a thing. It was an imaginary thing. Harry Potter in America, and modern Western images of witches. So that sounds fun. And then I got, okay, this is a book, but I don't usually get magazines at the grocery store because this was like $20, which is kind of ridiculous for a magazine. But it's Atlas of the Ancient World. So it's got ancient Egypt, ancient Persia, ancient Israel, and then Sumeria, the Babylonians and Assyrians, Sumeria. I'm going backwards in time there. Old and Middle Kingdoms of Egypt, Cleopatra's Egypt, which was much later. India, Gupta. What is the Gupta Empire? Somewhere in India. A couple different kingdoms in India, the Middle Kingdom in China, a couple different Chinese dynasties. I'm very unfamiliar with Chinese history. Minoans, so it's got some ancient Greek stuff here. Mycenae, Carthage, classical Greek. Alexander, the Roman Empire. I thought there was something from, oh yeah, New World's Young Civilizations. So it's got the Mayan civilization, Oceania, which I also know very little about. I had to get a better map because the scratch-off map of the world that I'm using to read around the world didn't have most of the islands on it, and it was very confusing. So I had to get a properly descriptive, I think it's a National Geographic map as well, that actually has all the islands on it, or at least all the countries. Mesoamerica. This is what the Aztec? No, Olmec. So I might actually just properly read this magazine. Northern Europe. Oh, Celtic and Germanic. Stonehenge, Boudica, and then North America. The Mississippi Valley and the desert in the Southwest. Pueblo, I always have trouble with that word. Pueblo Bonito and Chaco Canyon. And then West Africa, which is cool. That looks like something in Mali. Yeah, Timbuktu, which is a very cool place. And has actually quite a long literary history too, which is fun. Mansa Musa, who is that? I don't know who that is. Catalan. Oh, Mali, okay. So yeah, that's the Atlas of the Ancient World. And then I got a physical book of this Sahlawayhi, what's it called? Sahlawayhi book. So I'm using these readers for Arabic. And they're easier to read on the app because you can click on the words you don't know, which in my case is, you know, a fair few. But this one has the actual, just the actual story, which I thought once I've gone through the online one a couple of times and feel a little more comfortable with it, I might try some of these pages. But it looks different than the digital one. Like, it's got smaller sections and then it's got things I won't probably use, like matching quizzes and things at the end. Also, it's got certain words in English, French, Spanish, and German, for some reason. Anyway, that'll be fun for me. Maybe not interesting to anybody else, but anyway, those are the things I got in January, even though I said I was going to cool it on the book bind, but they are almost all secondhand except for the Saga of the Icelanders and this Sahlawayhi. Everything else is secondhand. But yeah, I'll have to maybe refrain from going to used bookstore for a while. Anyway, that was that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.